I wasn't thinking about what is proper and what is not proper. There was something that I had on my mind. I was speaking for the people whom I am involved with, not only in Watts, but across the country. And when it comes to speaking my mind, protocol becomes secondary. As long as I did not use language that was offensive to anyone, I saw no fault in the way I handled myself.
Thunder flashes, tear gas grenades, the sound of riot at the height of the trouble here in Paris. A typical night during the past fortnight, one of the many nights that built into the worst crisis situation here in a decade. It started with a tense but eerie calm, but now the action is starting. The militant students have appeared dressed in helmets, tear gas goggles, some waving the black flag of anarchy. They're throwing rocks, homemade Molotov cocktails, bottles full of gasoline down here among the police. The black-clad riot police, the CRS, dressed in helmets, goggles, shiny black plastic coats, which are too slippery for a rioter to hang on to. Each of those explosions a tear gas shell. And suddenly in front of the barricade, fires have started. They've overturned a car and set it alight. The police are moving up and they're sending up first a great water cannon with the hoses spraying water at the fires and at the students. I'm getting back out of this into one of the side streets.
We have not the democracy today that we used to have. It's a democracy for the upper class, whites and blacks. That's right. It's a democracy for the privileged. Uncle Tom. It's a democracy for the Uncle Toms and the Aunt Jemima. Talk to
The first disorders of the Poor People's Campaign have erupted at the United States Supreme Court building, where windows have been smashed, allowing several persons to briefly enter the building. Several hundred American Indians, Mexican Americans, and Negroes marched on the court, protesting a recent ruling that affected Indian fishing rights. They found the huge bronze doors locked in their face. The air was quickly filled with Indian war cries, protest songs, and angry Mexican shouts against what they called gringo's justice. Scores of police have moved into the area.
This is your building, honey. This is yours. We're gonna back you up.
Try the door and see if the door of justice is open. Try it. Try it. See if the door is open. We want justice. I want justice.
I'm gonna help you get it. Earl warned you better come out now. All the rest of you boys better come out of there now. Ain't no joke, honey. See if I can open the door. The doors of justice are closed.
The Supreme Court locked their hearts on the Indians.
And I can tell you that if I were the President of the United States, you could walk on the streets in any section of Washington, D.C. at any time, and I would make that possible if I had to bring 30,000 troops to Washington and put one every 30 feet with a 2-foot bayonet on the end of a rifle. We're going to make it safe for all the citizens of Washington, D.C.
We got justice!
thought to myself, now why aren't the bishops here? It should be the bishops in the hierarchy of the church that should be involved in this. As they propose to be followers of Jesus Christ, and he was concerned about those who were ostracized and those who were suffering in poverty. The church has been silent.
I don't feel like a martyr at all. I don't think I've ever been a martyr, and I don't feel like a martyr now. I'm more of a fighter, and I certainly have no inclination to stop fighting right now. I think we've only just begun.
You go to the FBI very politely and very respectfully and ask them, will you accept it? Or if you want to save yourself some trouble, telephone him and ask him if you can have an off-the-record conversation with him, and you listen for the little tick, you know, which means he's turning off his tape. And then I don't mean to sound paranoid, you know, sometimes we sound paranoid. The FBI is listening, but that's their job, that's their supposed to. And you ask them, will you accept these draft cards? They, oh, no, Reverend, no, we can't accept draft cards. Well, then I ask you, is there anybody in town who will accept them? No. Now, all right, then if I send them through the mail certified, you won't turn them down with you, because then you will be breaking the laws of the post office. Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I think that we ought to have a fair-sized professional army. I'm convinced now that it's too much of a temptation for a belligerent president to have an indefinite pool of manpower to work with.
I do not think we should have what's called a professional army in this country.
I said in one speech, if elected, I would go to the Pentagon, and I would, I think. Or at least try to get diplomatic representation there.
From the evidence that I have that this is a part of a move by the communists, especially of North Vietnamese government, to divide the American people, disrupt our war effort, discredit our government for the entire world. Those who participate in these demonstrations tomorrow will be, in effect, cooperating with and assisting our enemy.
We took the initiative to enlarge the war on land, on the sea, and in the air. We are strong enough to take the initiative to end this war.
The president has conducted war in Vietnam without the consent of Congress or of the American people, without the consent of anybody except maybe ladybirds. In fact, the war itself is for the birds, ladybird, lindenbird, and lucybird.
I think it's a damn shame that these marchers are out here today because they're traitors to the United States. Millions of our boys are dying in Vietnam for democracy, and these traitors are helping the Soviet Union. They're helping the Soviet Union. And I'm tired seeing Martin Luther King and Stokely Carmichael and all the so-called Negro leaders joining these beatniks, these dirty beatniks, communists who are destroying America.
Arms of 3 MPs and 2 deputy U.S. Marshals. She was singing America.
Why are you being arrested?
America, I don't know.
Why are you here?
I'm here to show that I'm against the war in Vietnam. I'm against violence.
What's happening to you now?
I'm being carried away to jail.
Peacefully?
Peacefully.
I think demonstrations are a healthy and vigorous part of American expression of opinion. When a demonstration for peace, however, becomes a bloody riot, then the demonstrators have proven to me that they're for the peace of the hospital and the graveyard.
I'm a clinical psychologist and I teach at the university. I think that people, for one time in their lives, have been saying something, have been trying to get through, not in a violent way, but have been wanting to be understood. They felt that they were up against a barrier up to now. And when people feel up against barriers, sometimes they have to break material barriers to get through. We want really to get through emotional barriers right now and all of the defenses which keep people having a philosophy of violence. We want to get through this, and this is why we're here. This is the only reason why we're here.
Our weapons must not be allowed to undermine our social policies. Our weapons must not be allowed to brutalize our people.
Very good demonstration here of the loyalty to our government, and we're very happy with the turnout.
Are your men here today, some of your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, quite a few of them are here. We have a regular post from the waterfront, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, post 7095. They have attended these demonstrations for 21 years.
Now, there are a couple of other parades going on in town today. What are your feelings about the anti-Vietnam parades?
Well, I can't speak for them, fellas. Let them speak for themselves.
There were 450 people down in Washington Square today that wanted to form a feeder march to come up here to the sheep meadow, and there was a police riot down in Washington Square. The minute these people walked out of the park on the sidewalk, the police set on them and attacked them.
It's perfectly all right, it seems, for a peace demonstrator to call a cop a murderer, a fink, a rat, or anything like that, and the cop's got to shut up, or he'll have civil rights groups right down his neck.
The demonstration was very peaceful until the policemen started, I believe it's a deliberate tactic, using their clubs. And if they do start using their clubs like that, it does scare people. That blood scares people. And it's much easier to disperse the crowd that way.
Never have I seen anything like it. In all the years, I'm going to be 83 years old. I've been a newspaper man for nearly 70 years without breaking continuity. I have never seen anything like we've got today. The only thing is not to worry too much about it either. After all, when you see one terrible-looking object walking down the street with a girl, you know, a hippie, watch the next 100,000 people. They look like normal human beings. The proportion is still there. Don't worry about that.
This is a New York City cab driver. Now, aside from the fact that you're being held up in traffic here waiting for the marchers, how do you feel about this?
I feel about it, I say that we should take every bomb and throw it at the Chinamans and get rid of them.
Then I take it you're not in sympathy with the marchers.
I'm not in sympathy with the march. I'm for the United States, first, last, and always.
We have another New York City cab driver. How do you feel about the demonstration today?
Well, the only thing I can feel about it, I can't get through. I can make a living out of it. I'm stuck. I can't move around.
Well, one reason why I'm down here, because I believe in backing our boys in Vietnam. I believe in our president, and also that I'm an ex-veteran myself, and I have a boy in Korea right now at this day, and he's been over there for the last year. The least I can do is not only to support my own country, to support my own son who's overseas himself.
I feel that the war should end. I have a son who is of draft age.
My sign on one side reads, "Let's win in Vietnam," and on the other side says, "Thank you, draft dodgers and peace sticks," and it's signed by Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Cong.
What is that flag you're carrying?
National Liberation Front, because I feel we don't belong in South Vietnam, and they represent the South Vietnamese people. That's why.
I see that you're carrying an American flag. How do you feel about those who are displaying the flag of the Viet Cong?
Well, this is my flag. That may be their flag, but this is my flag, and I love it, so I carry it, and I wave it. Somebody tried to take it away from me, and I'd fight them to take it away from me.
Are you representative of any, is this an organized?
No, it's, we just took it upon ourselves to come down here and protest this, what I call disgusting demonstration put on by these people. They call themselves Americans, they're willing to support our boys in Vietnam. I think that's really disgusting.
Why are you here?
Because I'm implacably opposed to this war. I feel that we have no business there. That the only reason we're there is because we were afraid to let them have an election, because we knew that the leftist elements there would win, and that's how the whole thing started.
And if I were the president, I'd try to put every person in the country who advocates communist victory in a jail. And I'd try to indict every college student raising money and blood and flying the Viet Cong flag. They know better than that.
There it goes, Chicago, that wonderful town. Wonderful town of political conventions and anti-war demonstrations.
The policemen with motorcycles are riding up on the sidewalks trying to run people over to clear them out.
I came here to talk to you about the man.
One cop picked up a demonstrator and tossed him down the steps of the subway.
Who has been for 20 years right up to the present time.
There goes the gas. Oh.
The articulate exponent of the aspirations of the human heart for the young, for the old, and for those of us in between.
They're charging into it. Press.
Get out!
They're charging at it. They're just swinging into this crowd.
A leader of experience who has exemplified his ability to preserve the very best that we have in our past, while he accommodates what we have in the present to the demands of our future.
A stampede of policemen as they push the crowd down. One person falls on top of another, and then another, and then another. And they can't get out of it. The people in the back are being beaten. I can hear the crap in the head, and they're falling.
He's going to have to meet the challenges of the unfinished business of democracy, which is always to preserve for all of the people, young, old, and in between, those great values of democracy, which are freedom, justice, and peace.
You can hear the motorcycles. They try to run people down.
These have always been the great values of America.
They're pushing people into the hotels. And then they're pushing them back and then hitting them.
And Hubert Humphrey now moves from a member of a team, a good, loyal member of a great team. As he moves from a member to the captain of that team, you will see that he will shape the events of the present for the very future that all of us demand, young, old, and in between again.
This guy that's riding a motorcycle, he's standing up on it like you might riding a wild bronco.
Wisconsin!
Mr. Chairman, most delegates to this convention do not know that thousands of young people are being beaten in the streets of Chicago.
Gas mask quick, they're yelling. They're taking off their helmets, putting on their gas masks. And the demonstrators are putting up their makeshift masks.
For 2 weeks.
That is to say, their torn shirts and their handkerchiefs around their mouths. I can see them shooting gas through the flamethrower. Yes, gas is being used over there. It's being shot into the crowd. My God, it's strong. It's kind of a yellow smoke.
My statement, sir. We want to relocate.
Got to get out of here. There goes a big blast of tear gas right into the crowd. The crowd is trying to retreat. I can't see. I got to get out of here. I can't cover this story anymore. Gas is too strong. I can't see. I'm going to get far away. To hell with this story. Goodbye. He got me in the face. Oh, man.
Just hang on. Don't rub it, man. It makes it worse. You rub it in.
What do I do?
You just leave it until we get you some water, and then you wash it off. We'll have water at the gas station over here.
I can't see you. Where am I?
I'm hanging on to me, and I can see fine.
I have seen no instance of police brutality. Again, they're working with us. I know that they certainly have been antagonized enough. It's been amazement to me that they've held their cool as much as they did. And I know that the press don't agree with us in some cases, but I think that Chicago can be doggone proud of this police department. There's one or two in there maybe that are a little too rough, but for the most part, this is a good police force. I think the situation is a reflection of the disastrous syndrome of violence which seems to be inflicted upon our country. I think that this is the problem of the United States in capsule form.
Up until now, I had the feeling that white America, and particularly many of the press, thought that this was a creation of black people, that all this was in their minds. Now they know it's on their heads.
If abuse, violence, obscenity, harassment, and stormtrooper tactics have no place in our peaceful American society, and we say they don't, they are dangerous in the extreme when they obscure and disrupt the purposes of a great university.
I think you always have to be a little bit more tolerant of what goes on campus. This is as old as the history of universities in Western civilization.
No administrators will be allowed into the building. Faculty will be allowed if they intend to sit down and support our protest.
Accordingly, the university has decided to close until order is restored and until it is able to resume the proper discharge of its educational responsibilities.
If Howard University persuades the federal government to serve an injunction against us, many of us will stay in the administration building and be arrested.
Something like 62% of the campus is fasting for 3 days in protest of the administration's policy on Vietnam.
A group of Long Island ducks, led by housewives, picketed to protest a proposed atomic power plant at Riverhead, Long Island. The ladies represent a group called the Fact Finders, who feel that atomic reactors near homes threaten the health and safety of the community. As one lady told us,
Slogan is we don't want radioactive ducks. We like our ducks on Long Island. We hope to make woman power political power. We're trying to show the American woman and the world that women, if organized, can make change in the social situation in America and change to end the war in Vietnam. And we are petitioning Congress, and we are asking that Congress take back the power that's been taken away from it by the executive and to show us that it really represents what American women and American people want.
To vote against every man who is for the war.
They make war on men who refuse to kill and war on people who are sick of war. A society which spends billions of dollars to napalm children in Vietnam is perverted. A society which forces oppressed black men to fight their brothers in Vietnam is perverted. A society which turns universities into research centers for new and better ways of killing is perverted.
Perhaps if there had been a broader understanding of the uses of nonviolent direct action in Germany, when Hitler was rising and consolidating his power. The brutal extermination of 6 million Jews and millions of other war dead might have been averted, and Germany might never have become totalitarian if Protestants and Catholics had engaged in nonviolent direct action and had made the oppression of the Jews their very own oppression, and had come into the streets beside the Jew to scrub the sidewalks, and had Gentiles worn the stigmatizing yellow armbands by the millions. A unique form of mass resistance to the Nazi regime might have developed.
It's just not appropriate for there to be violent retaliations and that kind of demonstration in the wake of the murder of this pacifist and man of peace.
We have to retaliate for the deaths of our leaders. The execution of those deaths will not be in the courtrooms. They're going to be in the streets of the United States of America. There no longer needs to be intellectual discussions. Black people know that they have to get guns. White America will live to cry that she killed Dr. King last night. It would have been better if she had killed Rat Brown and or Stokely Carmichael.
Not a day for politics. I have saved this one opportunity to speak briefly to you about the mindless menace of violence in America, which again stains our land and every one of our lives. It is not the concern of any one race. The victims of the violence are black and white, rich and poor, young and old, famous and unknown. There is another kind of violence, slower, but just as deadly destructive as the shot or the bomb in the night. This is the violence of institutions, indifference, inaction, and decay. This is the violence that afflicts the poor, that poisons relations between men because their skin has different colors. This is the breaking of a man's spirit by denying him the chance to stand as a father and as a man amongst other men. And this too afflicts us all.